You are now tuned in to Not Without Alonzo. Compton used to be all white.
Compton was the American dream. Sunny California, with a palm tree in the front yard, the camper, the boat. Temptingly close to the Los Angeles ghetto in the 50s and 60s, it became the black American dream. Open housing paved the way as middle-class blacks flooded into the city. Whites don't buy houses in Compton anymore.
White flight. First off, is it true that the Bushes used to live here?
Bushes used to live here in Compton. Marilyn Monroe lived in Compton. Kevin Costner got roots in Compton. Yeah, Doc.
Shit.
It was, long time ago. But yeah, I just did an event Saturday on the 27th of October, and it was all about the history of Compton.
Okay.
And it showed. The whole room was decorated with memorabilia from various people who you had no idea had roots in Compton. A lot of them were white.
Nice. What's the history behind Compton country? That they call it Compton country, I guess, with the whole ranches and.
Compton has some huge lots of it, man. That was one of the things that made Compton so appealing, especially people from the South, because you could raise horses. They got horse stables in Compton. You can raise chickens, you can raise kids, even where I lived at, which is not quite in Compton, just outside of Compton, in the unincorporated area of LA. In my backyard, my daddy had chickens, we had a garden, and down the street at the dead end, there was a vacant field, and these guys would make these bootleg horse stables. And I'm not lying, every once in a while, a horse would get out, and you literally have cowboys running. I'm not bullshitting. Come down the street with a lasso this motherfucker, right? And we had to get out the streets, and a lot of my neighbors had horses in their backyard. So that was all of the early land thing. Because back in the day, man, it was about land. It wasn't about a house. It was all about the acreage. It was about, how much land you had, your spread was. Unlike today, when developers right now, you can, if you having sex, everybody know you having sex, and this you could be in a house, and you can jump from one roof to another like nobody's been. Whatever you doing in your house, everybody know.
Did the Bushes have anything to do with that ranch?
I have no idea.
Oh, okay.
I don't know about that right there. I that was way before my time.
Oh, okay. Did people from LA see Compton as kind of backward country, or did other
people? Not really, man. Compton was the place to be, dude. If you had a good aircraft job or worked for the shipyard or something like that, that was for black middle. That was one of the first places black middle class folks could come. See, back in the day, you didn't need a college education to get a good job. You can go to high school and learn auto mechanics, wood shop, basic tools, whatever the case may be, and go work at the post office, the tire shop. They had General Motors had offices at factories here. They had a lot of aircraft companies in Long Beach, Torrance. So that's my mom and dad both worked for Douglas Aircraft.
Okay.
So you didn't have to be college educated to get you a good job and retire from there.
From what I understand, Compton was hustling and bustling in like the 50s and 60s. You could walk down, I don't know, pick a street.
Compton Boulevard,
and there was just people shopping everywhere.
Yeah.
And then like they hit hard time in like the 70s and 80s and didn't really revamp until like Omar Bradley came in and built, the Compton Center over there, and then the MLK Transit. Is that an accurate portrayal of?
Pretty much, man. I remember when I was coming up in Compton in the 70s, dude. Compton Boulevard was the place to shop. For Christmas, whatever the case may be, you can go out there. They had businesses on both sides of the streets. I remember a spot called Exums. Exums was a spot to go to. Exums. There was a place my daddy used to always go to. It was almost like Western Surplus. It was called Sad Sacks. And Sad Sacks was the coolest spot in the world for me because it was junky as shit. It was like an army surplus store.
Yeah.
Slash hardware store. Slash this cool spot for a kid to get, because my dad be doing stuff. I'm over there about to get in trouble, but the shit's already old, so you can't mess it up.
When did it hit its hard times? Do you remember it hitting a hard time?
Man, crack.
Is that what it is?
Crack. Sucked the life out of Compton, dude.
It was once the rich man's drug, but as crack, cocaine is cheap and abundant. And perhaps most tragically, it now threatens the future of the poor and the young.
How could they have a chance when they have such a potent drug to run to in case something don't go right? How could they have a chance at $5 of crack?
It's changed the whole environment, and it's one of the things I talk about in my presentation, that in the 70s, Compton was still relatively cool. Gangbangers was just starting to pop around. The Crips was still, they was just starting to make their presence felt around 73, 74. You still could go through certain neighborhoods. It wasn't nowhere near as bad as it was in the 80s. You still could walk through the neighborhoods. I remember going to my girlfriend's house. She lived off of Long Beach Boulevard, and right before you got to Compton Boulevard, to Alondra. And the train stopped, the bus stopped at Alameda. I had to walk from Alameda to Long Beach through neighborhoods. I never had a problem. And that's, it was like that. And by the 80s, I wouldn't, dude, you had to have an armored vehicle to go through Compton.
Damn, that sucks. And a lot of that was due to crack?
A lot of that was due to crack because for the first time, gangs had a reason to fight that was financially based. First, most gangs were set up, Crips were set up to defend against the police. The Bloods had another origin. I don't know exactly what it was, but most of it was neighborhood protection. Okay, Crip supposed to stand for community
revolution and progress.
Right. Okay. I never listened to what Bloods. I never knew that, but they have an acronym for it. But at that time, they were doing that thing. It was basically territorial. But when the 80s came in, it became territorial and financial. Okay, and that's when it got to be super dangerous because now you got a reason. It's money motivated.
What do you remember about the old Compton drive-in?
Ha ha!
Why'd they shut it down? I mean, I think I know why they shut it down.
Well, you know what, man? The Compton drive-in, and I use this in my presentation as well, that was one of our main sources of entertainment back in the day. Before they had Netflix and chill, we had drive-in and get your sex on, okay? Because wasn't nothing like backseat drive-in sex.
Yeah.
All right.
These kids don't know that.
They don't know about no backseat. The windows all foggy and shit,
Smell like carne
all the cars is just wham, the wham. Okay, and you can tell who got finished first because the car stopped rocking. Okay, in fact, that was an old joke. If you see this man a rocking, no need of knocking. Okay, that kind of thing. And being that I grew up in the 70s, I had a van, so I was that guy. You don't want to. You don't. Oh, he got a van. Oh, hell no, baby, you can't go in there. No, too late. But the Compton drive-in, man, that was a spot. We had a lot of drive-ins in LA back then. We had the Compton drive-in, we had the Twin View, we had the Century drive-in, and that's where the youngsters went. You can get away from your mama, hang out. If you could get your freak on, now's the time to do it. Okay, and if most of the time I didn't even see the movie, I just go to hang out. I mean. It's one of those stories. I don't want to tell nobody.
So I'm assuming they shut it down because
it got crazy, man. Because after a while, if folks were getting shot and get beat up at the drive-in, you couldn't buy no popcorn. Man.
That's fucked up, man.
And understand this, man. Understand this. The whole era of the early '70s in Compton, we had a lot of shit to do. They gave dances at St. Albert's, my old elementary school. They gave dances at Regina Chetty across the street from there. Capitol Park had sock hops with KGFJ. The same thing with Luders Park. Same thing with Gonzalez Park. So every Friday and Saturday, we had Friday or Saturday. One of the the radio station KGFJ would come to Compton and throw a sock hop. And those guys like Magnificent Montague. In the real Boss Tom Cross.
Come on, girl. You just heard Marvin Gaye from the album Let's Get It On, Distant Lover. It's non-stop music on KGFJ with Tom Cross.
In fact, that's why I loved it. That's why I first learned. That's why I first fell in love with DJing, going to Compton Park. Because back then, we had dances that we all did. We didn't crunk and we didn't twerk. Everybody had their little, had this little swagger dance.
Yeah.
It was, whatever it was leaning back, whatever the case may be. We did that. I walked in the Compton of the Park, just pulled my shoes off. You had to have a tight sock game back then because you can't wear your shoes.
So it was a sock hop.
Sock hop. You had to pull your shoes off because back then we wore hard-soled shoes everywhere. You carried your tennis shoes. You didn't wear them. If you got caught wearing tennis shoes, you might be considered a tennis shoe pimp.
What's that?
And tennis shoe pimp was like the lowest. It was like a buster.
No shit.
Okay, oh man, you could have caught wearing tennis shoes 3-4 days in a row.
Damn.
The players, the real players, the gangsters, they played basketball in they Stacy's. They take off with them dude.
Wow.
Remember in New Jack City?
Yes. That's the first thing that popped in my
New
head.
Jack City, when you come out there and see G Money,
Yep.
he got on a pair of slacks. He busting 3 free throws.
What the fuck is up? What the fuck is up? Play ball, that's what's up. Check.
Look at his feet. He ain't got no tennis shoes on. He got on his goddamn Giorgio Brutinis or whatever the case they had back in the 80s. And that's how we roll. I mean, you better not step on them.
Oh fuck! There we go.
You better not step on them. Okay. Cats will be out there getting a ball on. I'll never forget. We played football in my street. We had I lived on the dead end. Half the street was, not really half, maybe 3/4 of the block was on the dead end. I lived on this corner, but on this side of the block, there was a dead end, and they had like 4 or 5 houses full of girls. There was the Thompsons and my other girl Sue and Angie, and all the girls would sit on the brick wall fence and watch us play football. Okay, and my partner Kenny was a neighborhood thug. And he out there with us, showing off. We showing off, okay? Now we got on our tennis shoes now, but Kenny never would come out of his Stacey Adams.
Okay.
He'd take off his shirt, have on a wife beater, and I never will forget this. Kenny got the ball, trying to run a play, and he slipped and fell. And when he fell, he was still running on the side. He was still his feet was still running. He still running on the side. He wasn't going nowhere, but it was funny as hell. We all fell out laughing. True story, man. That's how we did it back in the day.